Playground Games, the makers of Forza Horizon that recently got purchased by Microsoft, are accumulating tons of video game developers from around the world to make one epic team to make the best video game ever.
Cars?
No cars.
Hot take!
Typically, when we talk about new oncoming projects from video game studios or video game studios in general, we usually know a lot more information. Now, what you're about to hear here is all real stuff that is happening, but this is all going to be based upon assumption about what this team is doing. But let's get into this a bit more.
We don't have a lot of the specifics right now, but it is exciting, and we're talking a lot about this because there's so many big names. So I don't think we mentioned any of the developers
No, we haven't.
yet, right?
Let's do this.
Okay, so before we get into naming the developers, Microsoft did buy up several studios.
Yes.
At E3, they had shown off that they were going to be absorbing some very talented teams. So,
and we theorized that they were going to start making some big plays and big announcements with these games, right?
Yeah, so some of the teams are actually going to pop up on this list. So one of them, of course, is Ninja Theory.
Yes.
Which Ninja Theory did make Hellblade, right? Which was a quite popular title, as well as Heavenly Sword.
Yes.
And Odyssey to the West.
Yes.
I believe, which was an absolutely fantastic
Very good game, yeah.
Yeah. Guerrilla Studios is going to be involved as well. Members, these aren't the studios specifically, mind you. These are members that worked with these studios.
These are people in these teams that have actually made some of the biggest games these companies have ever worked on.
Right. So we do have some names. We don't have all of them, but the names that we have grabbed, we'll talk about later because there is some pedigree there. Okay, so Guerrilla, we mentioned. Also BioWare has been announced, so some members of BioWare. And so this game, this isn't necessarily new news. We did hear about this in 2017, but we didn't hear about so many of the development teams or the people that would be on it. When the game was first announced, we did hear a couple of big development team names. So besides what I've already said before that, we had already gotten a little hints of some of the talent. So people from Rockstar Games, people from Metal Gear Solid, okay,
Kojima Productions specifically,
that's right. So from Rockstar Games, we had Will Kennedy, and Will Kennedy worked on GTA 5, a little game you may have heard of, possibly the biggest.
Maybe you might know it.
The biggest or second biggest game in the world right now. But yeah, he worked on level design and quest design, and then from Metal Gear Solid we had Sean Eyestone, who did a lot of work on Metal Gear Solid 4 and 5. So yeah, this is just some of the pedigree that's possibly coming to this game. Did we mention what genre this was?
This is an open world RPG. So let's just talk about this here.
Shane, can I stop you for a moment?
Go.
This is the Forza Horizon team?
Yes, it is.
Will this be the world's first car RPG?
It could possibly be.
I'll shut up now.
I would be excited to see that. But think about this, okay? This team is basically... we've actually seen games from Playground in the past, and they do a really good job at basically open world car games, right?
That's all we've seen is car games. But the creative director, Ralph Fulton, said, look, we're making this second studio. This is something new. We need new blood. We need new ideas. So that's why a lot of this team is not going to be the folks that necessarily led the Forza Horizon projects.
Now, this could be a car-based game. I have my doubts about that, but it is definitely going to be an open-world game, an open-world RPG.
Maybe car-based in the same way that Final Fantasy 15 was car-based.
It could be an open-world RPG that has cars in it.
I'm just kind of tossing cars out the window because they're calling this Project 2. It seems like a very distinct separation from the other studio. This is a completely different location. It is located very close to the other studio. It's in England, but they're physically separated. I feel like they're separating cars from whatever the heck it is that these talented people are going to be working on.
It does feel like that. Now, there's also people that were hired in from EA Motive. Now, if you don't know what EA Motive is, this is a company that basically was purchased, or they were produced with EA. Jade Raymond and Kim Swift. Kim Swift originally worked on Portal, and she was the creator of Norbacular Drop.
Do we know that? We don't know that Kim Swift's going to be on this project.
No, she's not.
Okay.
But what they did when they created EA Motive was when they brought in Jade Raymond, they were trying to make new open world experiences. So what you're seeing here are all of these companies that have some experience in open world design, despite Ninja Theory. Ninja Theory is more of a company that has worked on motion capture and narrative direction.
That was something that a lot of people were very happy about with Hellblade
Yes.
was that they were able to take their narrative and do something very, very interesting with the representation of like mental illness.
Yes, exactly, right?
Yeah.
So what you're seeing here, though, are all these companies that they're like just going in and taking one or two people out, and they're bringing them into this new company, is basically a dream team of folks that work on open world games.
It is exciting. Phil Spencer, he sort of voiced his opinion on first party titles from Xbox, and we'd kind of been seeing some lackluster releases.
It's true, it is. Yeah.
And he said, no, we're making a big push. So this could be. I mean, we don't know how this is going to end up, right? But this could be a huge title for the Xbox One.
Yeah, I
don't even know if this is going to be released on the Xbox One.
I mean, we assume maybe it's going to be released on the next generation of Xbox consoles. Maybe this is going to be an exclusive game on the console, or it's going to come out on PC as well.
We don't know how far along. Like, we don't even know if they've hit the ground running with this yet. They had announced that there was going to be a separate development team last year. Yeah, if they are making the game, I'm almost kind of leaning towards next gen.
I almost want to say that, but we don't know enough about this. To be fair, though, what we've seen happen recently with Microsoft is basically there was this really big push to have new games coming out on the platform.
Right.
But then with Crackdown 3, there was a bunch of issues. You know, it didn't really come into fruition.
And we had other games that seemed like they were well along their way to being released, like Scalebound and like the Fable title that wasn't released.
It's true, yeah.
And so there was a lot of like it killed a lot of fervor from fans because those look like really cool titles.
Yeah, they really did. I mean, everybody was really upset when Scalebound got canceled.
Yeah, man, if they cancel this project,
I can't imagine.
I will be.
There's so much people into this, but what really, this is how I'm thinking about it right now. Microsoft has seen a lot of issues come out of Crackdown 3. Microsoft has seen a ton of issues come out of Sea of Thieves, right? And those are companies that they kind of worked with to make these things happen. Rare had never made an open world game before. Technically, they did.
Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, but we're not going to talk about that because that's
Conquer.
That's better left forgotten to an extent. Banjo, that last one, but
Connect Adventures.
But here,
okay, that was a lie.
Jeez. But here, there's all of these companies that they're pulling from to make a new powerful game. Now, here's the thing. If Microsoft can get something on the same level of Grand Theft Auto 5, some big open-world game that's exclusive to their platform, that can mean the difference between selling a bunch of Xboxes next generation, or Xboxes for this current generation, and not. Mm-hmm. This is sounding like it's going to be this kind of amazing project that everyone hopes gets released on the Xbox, and we might actually see it now.
Right, yeah. So the more that we talk about it, the more I really kind of am leaning towards the next gen, because this sounds like if you're getting together a lot of people that, you know, maybe you're not familiar with the names, but certainly the products, titles that they've worked on, it sounds like it would be a great title to flash at an E3 or something and like, look, this is day one on the Xbox 2 or whatever the heck it is that they're going to be calling that next console, right?
It's true. I mean, when we were looking at Sony and some of the games that they were announcing at the PlayStation E3 conference, one of the games we saw was a Japanese-focused open world game, and that gameplay there,
Tsushima,
yes,
Ghost of Tsushima,
that looked really cool, right? And there's that idea that now that game is exclusive to that platform, right? If you don't even really think about it too much, technically, because they do have people coming in from Grand Theft Auto 5, Grand Theft Auto 5 and Metal Gear Solid 5, right?
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid, it kind of blows my mind a little bit. Now, like, of course, it's. We already said it's Sean Eyestone, which maybe people would assume when you hear Metal Gear, like some random Team Kojima, like Japanese developer, but he was integral to Metal Gear Solid 4 and
originally
5.
From Hawaii as well, but he did go to work over there, and the reason why he was a part of that was he basically acted as the replacement for Ryan Payton. If you don't remember who Ryan Payton was, he was basically one of those people that worked on localization and really helped with make the Metal Gear Solid ideas work for the North American audience. Now, I don't know who is in that role now with Kojima as it stands in his newer studio, but back when they were doing Metal Gear Solid 4 and 5, they needed more people like that to work on there, and this is, what he was doing was a very key and important role into making those games work. working so close with Metal Gear Solid 5, he saw what an open world game can look like that can change in very different ways. That game has a lot of problems, but there's a lot of really interesting stuff there. And obviously, with the troubled development cycle of that game, developers were going to leave, and this is proof that actually did happen.
Yeah. So, do you see a forecast of there being some issues? Sometimes we do hear about dream teams, kind of a clashing of minds. Well, we were talking about, what was it, the former Daikatana developers?
Yeah, Ion Storm.
Right.
Yeah.
You had a lot of really great developers, a lot of really great minds.
You did,
there,
and some amazing games did come out of there, right?
Yeah. There were ups and downs.
So EA Motive is an interesting thing. EA Motive has 2 studios now, and the company had previously, from what we can tell, just worked in some aspect with Star Wars Battlefront 2. As many of you know, that game didn't really get well received. There are aspects of it that are really good, but they kind of got buried with all the DLC stuff and all the monetization crap that people didn't like.
Right.
But that being said, EA Motive's whole concept, from what I'm to understand, was to make a new style of game, some new kind of experience that involved open world aspects to some degree.
I honestly, I don't even hold monetization too much in the developers' hands. I don't think anyone really wanted to do that. I think it was the higher ups.
It's true, I completely agree. Right. With EA Motive, though, you had they have 2 studios right now, and they have not actually released a game, but they seem to keep expanding. When it comes to Playground games, though, they have games under their belt. They have produced games. Right. What you're seeing right now isn't just a random company that's just coming together to make things. It's an already existing company that has made incredible experiences. And those Forza Horizon games have no right to be as good as they are. Yeah. They are really fun, very great experiences that expand. And they don't take themselves so seriously as you see with the Forza games, because I think it was the latest Horizon game, there is a Hot Wheels expansion.
Yeah, you're telling me about that. You can go through the loops and
exactly.
stuff.
It's so fun to play, and they're starting to understand that realism that they try to strive for isn't always the best method to make the game fun.
Right.
So Horizon is really exploring that and making those interesting things happen.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a continuation of that format, and it's the next Horizon game, not the one that we've been seeing recently and talked about, but it's a new style of Horizon game where it's just an open world RPG that involves cars and stuff, it would still be amazing.
It's going to be literally Disney's Cars, the RPG.
Yeah. No, I don't want that.
I really the creative director, and I think he actually created the studio, Ralph Fulton. He really seemed to be saying, "Look, this is not going to be a car game." He really seemed to be. I envision this as. Okay, like we had Guerrilla Studios, right? For a long time, we had Killzone games, and they were fairly good. The last Killzone game on the PS4, and then they came out with another game. What game was that?
Yeah,
actually,
Horizon Zero Dawn.
No, actually, Playground Games makes Forza Horizon. No, it was Horizon Zero Dawn, and that was a very different path for them, right? So I'm hoping that's what we're going to see here, right?
Personally,
we're going to see something that we're not expecting.
Yeah,
right?
Horizon Zero Dawn it's got to be one of the best games I've played on the PlayStation. If you haven't played it, I would consider it neck and neck, if not in some ways surpassing what Zelda Breath of the Wild was. And I know that seems like a pretty crazy thing to say, but
Blasphemy.
The game. If there's a lot of great stuff about Breath of the Wild, but when you compare the games back to back, the story of Horizon appealed to me personally as a player a lot more, and I think a lot of other gamers out there got something very interesting from that narrative and that story. And to see a company just come out of nothing and make an open world game like that is amazing. So to know that some of those people are in this group.
Was Nintendo the company that came out of nothing?
Well,
I know what you mean, though. It was so completely different from everything else, and I guess we both hope that that's what we're going to be seeing here as well. But like everything we're saying is just kind of up in the air.
It's up in the air, but we do know what's happening.
You can tell we're excited. Yeah. The things that we do know, again, I use the word pedigree. We're seeing people that have some experience, great experience with some great studios coming together under the umbrella of another great studio. There's a very high likelihood that something cool is going to happen there.
It's whether the game is a failure or a success, it's at least going to be something worth looking at.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
It'll definitely be interesting.
But what do you think this game's going to be? Do you think it's going to be a new open world RPG with cars, maybe something different?
The first car PG.
It could be that. What do you think? What do you know? Write it down in the comments below.